Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the R Show. Tonight is a special night. We have Mr. Bonafied Hustler here.
What's up,
So
Bonafied Hustlers here?
we're gonna get to know him a little better and no real topic, but him. He's the topic. So, and as usual, I have Mr. Cool Toes here with me.
What's
And
up?
so if you have any questions for him, get him in. He is guaranteed for me an hour of his time. So we may go a little over, we may not. It is up to Chris.
Yep.
Show. Tonight is a special night. We have Mr. Bonafied Hustler here. Oh my God, I sound like that.
That's cool, Toads, all the way, man.
No, not me this time.
Oh, well,
That's not me.
No,
Definitely not me.
no, I left it. I didn't need my.
Okay.
That's why I said I sound like that.
We got a lot of people in here. Hearts Motor Company, what's up? Hey, what's going on? Lots of peoples.
Well, Chris, for the figure that may catch this later and that don't know about you already, I'll just tell them a little bit about yourself.
Oh yeah, so I'm the Bonafied Hustler. I started flipping about 11 years ago while working a corporate job as a side hobby. Got really addicting, and fast forward to today, I'm a full-time hustler. Well, my income stream's coming from all sides, so I would love to say all of it is coming from hustling, but it's not. But I'm an author of a book that's on Amazon called Flip That We won't say that last word, but I'm also an author of a guide on gumroad.com called Bucks to Bucks, and I put all the stuff that I guess my claim to fame is I have a YouTube channel called The Bonafied Hustler, and I go to garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, pawn shops, flea markets, swap meets. I had it memorized, but it doesn't go well when I'm under pressure. And I put it on places like eBay, Craigslist, Amazon, and my antique booth, and consignment stores in town. So that's who I am, and I'm here.
Well, I know that you did bikes, and you were also known for doing RC cars. So what else are you proficient in?
Yeah, so I'm really, really good at bikes, obviously. I'm extremely well versed in bikes. I know a lot about remote control cars. And while we're on that subject, I picked up two really awesome ones this past weekend. So that was like our first garage sale. I picked up those two, and then I'm good at a lot of other things. More notably, outdoor goods, anything that has to do with I guess yeah. I mean, basically the great outdoors. So if it has to do with camping, kayaking, mountaineering, all that kind of stuff. I sell a lot of that junk as well. Pretty well versed when it comes to picking, as in getting my hands dirty, going to people's property, all that kind of stuff. So messing with antiques, I do that kind of stuff as well, and I have the booth for that reason. And but I think my ultimate love for what I do really comes down to just sourcing on a Saturday morning, like a garage sale. That's just really fun to me, and I haven't lost that crave to do that. In the past 11 years. It's fun. I really like it. I like seeing garage sales around the country. I like to see what people are selling, and it's sometimes the easiest money in the entire world to make. So yeah, I guess it's just fun. It's always a hunt. It feels like Christmas Eve every single Friday night, right? When I'm going to bed, I'm like, gosh, I just want it to be Saturday morning.
Well, we got a comment here from Pinch and Pesos. She says she's gonna hop in her car and come do a video bomb on you.
She lives like right down the road from me. Yeah, like right down the road.
Yeah, she was my guest 2 weeks ago when we talked about parting out things from machines and stuff like that. So
cool. Yeah, she's nice. I just saw her 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the weekend that she was a visit. It was when you had your Austin meetup.
Yeah, Austin meetup. It was cool. There are a bunch of videos on my channel about it if you want to check it out. Yeah.
And what would you say are your percentages of your business? Like, I know you have the passive, but you have Amazon, you have eBay, you have the booth. What else do you have and where do you think most of your money would come from, not counting books?
Okay, not counting the stuff that so not counting Amazon, Smashwords, Gumroad, or Kindle. The bulk of the money, well, okay, I would say pretty heavily, versed on Craigslist. I love doing Craigslist, and the antique booth is doing really well. I have FBA rolling much stronger than normal now. I'm trying to shift a lot of my eBay business into the FBA realm, just because it aligns more with my lifestyle. I do have, I do pretty well on eBay for what it is, and I like to. I think it's not because one channel can start making more than another in a given month. I don't really have the. It's hard to say because eBay sometimes does really well versus some other channel that I have, right? So I always try to never put my eggs in one basket. I always try to spread my bets kind of wide. That way, when something pops, it's like, okay, cool. Then I focus more on that one for a while, and then, I might get bored of it for a while. But either way, when I go hit a sale, it's very important for me to not leave an item behind. So I always try to have an avenue open for whatever I get my hands on, and having multiple avenues is the only way you can really, really, really not leave an item behind. So that's the way I kind of treat what I do. And then, if it's like garage sale season, for example, like where people are doing neighborhood-wide garage sales, then eBay more than likely will be higher in FBA selling that month than like Craigslist and Amazon. Yeah, eBay and FBA will be higher than the antique booth and Craigslist, for example, on those kind of months. So it just all varies, honestly. But having the avenues open is the most important thing of what I do.
You are known for drinking dopios.
Oh, gosh.
Arbitrage asks, have you ever tried a nitro coffee? He's tried it.
Have I ever heard of a nitro coffee? I haven't tried it. I haven't tried that particular thing. I've tried all the combinations of whatever people make when it comes to espresso and coffee, like red eyes, and everyone calls them something different in these coffee stores. Whether you go to California, you go to Texas, these local coffee stores, not these not the chain kind of ones like Starbucks or Seattle's Best or anything like that, but these local ones typically will have some sort of name for their super, super caffeinated thing, right? So they can call it a bomber, they can call it, I don't know, I've heard red eye before. I don't like to go for those too much because those tend to tear up my stomach really bad, but I like the dopios because they're so concise, they're small, and they kind of go bad within about a minute, so you have
Yeah,
to
they
take
do.
the whole thing down like really quick. It doesn't take much time, and there's the chances of it, like if you do a left turn in your car, like flying all over the place, is not going to happen. So there are a plethora of reasons why I like the doppio. A lot.
Hey, Sean, would you like to do some shout outs while you look up for more questions? I think I saw a couple. No, there you
Yeah,
have it.
there's one that keeps flipping on me, so I'm trying to get the other one. But yeah, we got Deb pitching pesos. She's first actually this time, pretty good. Then we got Brian Albatross, yeah, Arbitrage Albatross. I used to be able to say that okay. Ronnie Hart, and we got Margaret, Texas Gal Treasures, Jenny Benny yeah, and then Phoenix Picker Janet. Sorry, my throat's a little crazy. Coco Chanel is in the house again. Welcome everybody. Tom Badley, OG Picker, the Valet Picker, and there it goes. Come on. Thrifty Treasures. Tanya Sheets is in the house. Dustin Sodders. Well, there's some other ones in here too. Tortoise Picker. What's up? How's it going? And Country Girls in the house as well.
Cool. We got some people in here, man. Also, Arbitrage Albatross is now saying that nitro coffee is cold brew, but kegged with nitrogen on tap. Okay, so I've never had nitro coffee then, or nitro, whatever this is called. But I have had cold brew. I've had a lot of cold brew. In fact, we actually built cold brew here when College Picker was in town with the gifts that one of our green room members gave to us in a bag. So we decided we just brewed a whole bunch overnight. So cold brew is probably and arguably some of the strongest coffee ever. It's like super concentrated. So and it's super smooth. So you can it's almost like water. But it's if you don't know how to dilute it properly, I mean, you can get really wired super fast and then have the worst crash ever. So, but yeah, cold brew is really good coffee. I love cold brew, and that should be in every big town by now. But yeah, have you ever had cold brew, Toads or Chris?
Nope.
I've had iced coffee, but I haven't had cold brew.
Oh, cold brew is so good, man. Amazing. It's so good.
Okay, we have a question here from Tortoise Picker. He says, Chris, which reselling platform, including your booth and Craigslist, do you feel you have the most control of?
Okay, so Chris, which reselling platform, including your booth and Craigslist, do I feel I have the most control? I mean, Craigslist is the most control because you set schedules and you set the prices, and if you're good on strategy and if you're good on human psychology, then you can kind of like figure out a person real quick. Are they going to talk you down? All that kind of stuff. So I think that's the most control out of all. You're setting schedules. I mean, the Craigslist app is super easy to use. It's faster than any of the eBay ones or any of the other stuff. Well, except for maybe Amazon. But yeah, you can sell things really fast on a mobile phone. Like my brother Emerson, right? For example, we were garage selling yesterday, and as he's finding the stuff, he's putting it. We're wheeling it out to my truck, like a bike, for example, right? He sticks it in somebody else's yard, some random person's yard, takes a couple pictures with Craigslist on it, and then he puts it on my back rack, right? That's how awesome Craigslist is. There's an ultimate control on Craigslist because
That's awesome.
he's listing it while I'm going to the next garage sale. So basically, I was like his chauffeur to make money that day, and next time it'll be the other way around. Like I'll be able to do that kind of stuff. But he's notorious for doing that. He even did it on the green room video for day 2 or something like that. Like right out of the Goodwill with some shoes. He like throws them on the floor, takes pictures of them like different angles, and then throws it right to eBay. It's so funny.
That's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah. The booth is a lot of control too, Tortoise Picker, by the way. I'm in the booth, but I don't see it as much as something else.
Sorry.
Is that Sir Mix-a-Lot? No, I'm just kidding. No, the booth has got a lot of control too, because the booth, it's all me. I'm the, I'm the only person that cleans it up, tidies it up, rearranges it. So depending on the more often I go to the booth, the more money I seem to make. So I see the booth about once or twice a week now, as opposed to like once every 2 weeks is what I was doing like a while back, like a year ago. So now it's like once or twice every week now. Try to get a shipment on Monday after the booth, from all the stuff I found on the weekend, and then I try to go in the booth like around Thursday or so just to do some rearranging. Surprisingly enough, when you rearrange a booth, for some reason, just stuff starts selling out of nowhere. You call it freshening up a booth, I don't know, but it works.
We have a question from Texas Gal Treasures. What do you do about protecting yourself against weirdos on Craigslist? As a woman, I'm really nervous about that.
Okay, so the best thing you can do, because Craigslist is an absolute avenue that you shouldn't write off. It's a really good avenue. It's an avenue that deals with cash, right? And cash is king. So the best thing to do is to meet at a gas station that's by your house, a well-lit one, and do the transaction there. Or you can do it at police departments in your neighborhood or whatever. Those are 2 great places to do it, or a well-lit parking lot of like a supermarket. All right. Now here's the key though. When you're done with the transaction and everything, and all said and done, you have your cash in your hand, you're feeling good. Don't forget to check your rearview mirror, and keep checking until you get home. Just make sure no weirdo like follows you home. But for the most part, that's the safest it'll ever get. I actually meet people at my house because, quite honestly, I live in a decent neighborhood. I live in a cul-de-sac, so someone tries to mess with me, it's like there are all these houses like looking into the cul-de-sac, and people are going to see what's going on. So, and plus, I'm not exactly like a small guy, so most people that show up aren't really exactly bigger than me. They're just like, oh, okay, like I'll take it, that's cool, or they don't say very much at all. I don't know why, but they just don't. So, and I'm also a guy, so usually, when I deal with other kind of items like motocross kind of stuff, for example, then I start meeting at a store. Motocross or like sometimes video game related stuff, I'll go to a store because I find that a lot of people that deal with those kind of things are kind of like not the kind of people I want to bring into my neighborhood, for example. So there's certain items that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to sell that here at my house. I'll just go down the street, So.
And Deb has a question in regards to your FBA. She's asking, so are you doing RA now, or are you getting your Amazon stuff garage selling and thrifting?
Where was that question real quick?
Pinching pesos, Deb, she did a follow-up question. So are you doing RA now, or are you getting your Amazon stuff garage selling and thrifting?
Right. So my Amazon stuff primarily is garage sale and thrifting. I try retail arbitrage here and there where I can, but it's mostly clearance related stuff. So it could be at like an end cap way back of a Walgreens, for example. There's some really good end caps over there. Every now and then a Walmart, but for the most part, what I'm sending in is stuff that I'm finding from thrift stores and garage sales. And you can find a good deal of really good, you can find a good deal of, like, let's say, small consumer electronics, or even stuff like, if I pivot this right over there, and I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can align this up real quick. But there's, some things I picked up this weekend, and if it qualifies for FBA, which it probably will, I just got to test it all out, then that would go as well. So yeah, small consumer electronics happen to be my favorite thing to sell. Same with video games. And then, bigger things like that, but only if the turnaround's like in like the 300 range. So if I'm spending like 10 to 20, then if I ship something big like that, then I would be looking in the $250, $300 range as my profit, because the shipping is going to cost around 10 already. And yeah, when you deal with electronics like that, I look for DAT players, Laserdisc players. Let's think here. What else? There's mini disc ones. There's carousel kind of CD players, things like that. CD, DVD, recording combo kind of things. DVRs, DVD, DVR combos. So those are all really good things to send into FBA, but you have to know how to test it out, which kind of is one of the things that I think mystifies some people that don't know anything about audio video. So I was actually thinking about making some of those videos for that, by the way. If that would help people, I don't know.
And Ben Landberg, or Landsberg, you want to know what? I think you're asking about when you first started, you said you picked up 2 bikes. He's wondering what those 2 bikes were. I think when you very started, 11 years ago.
When I started 11 years ago?
Yeah, you said something about picking up 2 bikes on your first flip.
On my very first flip, that's documented in the book. What's behind me right there? But yeah, on the very first bike that I picked up 11 years ago was at a Goodwill. It was right outside of it. It was $8. It was a Hoffman BMX. It was light blue, and it had 2 flat tires and everything. But I just somehow knew about that, or I'd heard that name on X Games before, and X Games and Matt Hoffman and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it all clicked, and I was like, all right, let me just take my phone out. And actually, I didn't even have a phone. I don't think I did have a phone that day. Anyway, I just bought it, and then I put, I think, 2 new tubes in it, and then I sold it for like $80. So it was less than 48 hours later. So that was actually the story in the book, and that's very true. I remember that one. I don't remember many of the ones in the God, there's so many that have been sold. I remember the really big ones, the ones where I make very, very amazing amounts of money, but these little tiny micro ones where I make like 40 to 60, it's like I don't remember them as much as like the big ones. So, but it's fun.
I was wrong. I'm sorry. He went to ask what were the 2 bikes you picked up today, this weekend.
Oh, I picked up 4 bikes as well. I picked up, let me think here. We picked up 4. Emerson and I picked up 4. He got 2 of them. I'm trying to think if I got 2 of them as well. I can't remember if I think he got 3, and I took 2, and I took 1. And then one of the ones that he got, he's going to cut me in on the deal because it was just too good of a deal. And we both showed up to this. We both walked up. I was filming, and I was like, yeah, I definitely want a piece of that bike. He's like, that's cool. And we're cool like that. So we live right next door to each other. We own the houses together, and we just, yeah, when we go riding along, it's like we don't fight over money or anything. I cut him into deals that we do. For instance, 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had bought a Telecaster guitar, which was like $40 at a garage sale, an actual Fender Telecaster. It was in very good condition. It had been played like 8 times, maybe 8 times. And I tested it out, put it on an amplifier, it worked perfectly fine. I think it sold it for like $340, I want to say. And I just tossed him like a quick $80, even though he was like, I didn't have anything to do with that. I was like, yeah, but you were there, and So that's how we kind of roll. We roll like that. We're brothers, so we don't fight over anything. And if I know more than him about something, then I feel like it's my duty to, provide more. And if he knows something more than I do on something, which is typically computer-related stuff, then he will help me, fixing computers or getting certain things that I need on my computer. So anyway,
Arbitrage wanted to let you know that he sent the link to the Nitro Coffee video. He wants to
Cool.
let you know. And Retro says to tell Bonafied to get the bass, to take the bass out of it.
Retro aficionado, aka Young from the green room. Yeah, he's in there. He always says that. It's so funny.
Yeah, he was actually our first guest out of the green room admins.
Yeah, well, him and I actually formed the green room. It was him and I over some Japanese food. When he came to Austin, he just came in and he had found me from my YouTube videos. And so he came in and I was like, yeah, I'm always down to hustle with whoever. So, and I don't ever think I'm ever better than anybody. So he just hit me up on Facebook and he was like, I'm going to be in Austin. You want to go thrifting? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, who is this guy? Who is Young? And I don't know who Young is, right? But I was like, it's a fan or it's a subscriber, you know, it's whatever. But the commonality we have is that we like to thrift. And I was like, cool. And so we started thrifting, and I figured out Young's super cool. I'm talking super cool. We even thrifted both those days in his car, which happened to be bigger than the Prius that I was in. So some people always ask me, like, why do I drive a Prius and why do I drive this other car? Well, the Prius is my girlfriend's car, so during the week I drive the Prius, and then the other 2 days I drive my FJ. And that's aside the fact. But we went in his car, and then we had some Japanese food, and then we started talking about, like, how can we divulge some information to a mass scale, and how can we help a lot of people and inspire a lot of people, and that's why we built the Green Room. And then I thought about College Picker, and I was like, well, I really like him, and so I better bring him on. He was cool. And then a couple months later, we brought on Rakin because he was big on clothing and still does clothing a little bit here and there, but now he's getting back into FBA real hard. So yeah, we formed a pretty good team, and then we took on Cody Hawk not too long ago. Fun.
Golden Finger Picker, what is the most exciting item you've kept for yourself?
Oh, that's such a good question. Really? GFP asked that? All right. That's a great freaking question. All right, what's up, Golden Finger Picker? Good to see you. And by the way, I did comment on one of his videos like not too long ago. He found this really cool Star Wars like opening like playset thing that was from the bridge of. Anyway, it's nerdy, but it's like super cool if you ever see it. I think it's on his most recent video. Okay, so what's the most exciting item I ever kept for myself? Oh, okay, so it's actually in my hallway right now. I think it's cool because, like, and what makes it, okay, so it's a star map that I found at a Goodwill about 6 years ago. It's from like 1860 something or maybe 1890 something. It's basically really, really, really old. It's yellowing and everything. And I bought it for like $12.99 or something. Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was in like a crappy like case, and it was had some glass on it and everything. I bought it. It's about this big. It's a star map, right? It's a double Hemi star map, so it came out of an atlas from back then, right? When they were teaching pupils and wherever with these atlases, like it's a double hemisphere star map with all these cool constellations done in French and everything, and it's 100% real. And it's we took a spot glass up to it and everything. There's no evidence of dot matrix printers or anything like that. I mean, the ink is, it's actually done very well. And its market value 6 years ago was like $475 or $450 or something like that. But it's kind of irrelevant because I wouldn't have sold it in the first place, and I still haven't sold it. I just got it framed even better. And it's just a really, really cool find because it's something super old to whoever was viewing it back in the day. It's obviously not living anymore. And it survived all that time to find its way into my hands at that Goodwill. I don't know how. So I basically, put it into a really nice case thing, and then it's on my wall in the hallway.
Thrifty Treasures wants to see it.
Oh, really? I can go get it. You guys want to see it?
Sure.
Okay. If people want to see it, go ahead and comment right now. I will exit my room and I will go get this thing. I'm not even kidding.
Well, they all say yes, because I already know they're going to.
We gotta see. Hold on real quick. We have 32 people watching right now. How about we do? If we see 10 yeses, then we'll do it. How about that?
Well, while we're waiting for those 10 yeses, Ancient Pacer says she's applying for admin status in the green room. You guys need a chick.
Yeah, you're right. We do need a chick. We've been thinking about that for almost a year now, so we're still on the hunt, and we're definitely thinking about it. We got a lot of things we're working on, but some of that stuff's a little secret, and rightfully so. But we've thought about it. We've thought about it really, really, really hard. We got yeses coming in, guys. We haven't made an official decision on
6, 7, 8,
what to do.
9,
Okay, there's 10 yeses. There's for
10.
sure 10 yeses. Let me
Yep.
go get it. Give me 1 second. All right, I'll go get it. I will. I will. Hold on.
So while he's doing that, Sean, you want to do some more shout outs?
Yeah. Let's see. Mr. Sadie is in the house. Angie, Treasured Vintage. Louis the Seller, Jameson P. Who else is in here? Turtle Trader is in the house. Of
Okay.
course, Young, Retro Aficionado.
Okay. Before we go into this double Hemi map, by the way, I want to show you. I'll show you guys a couple things. Hold on. Let me get this one thing. It's back here. Oh. Okay. So this is just current day, but I found this at a store. And let's see if anybody in our show land knows the movie it came from, okay? You guys ready? Sean, you ready?
Yep.
I have a feeling you're going to win this, Sean, but don't try not to answer, okay? Because you know a lot about, you just know a lot about 80s and 90s kind of stuff. You just do. I know your knowledge, man.
I think I already know.
What do you know? What are you talking
Go ahead. Go ahead. Button.
Okay, so this is what I want to show you guys. It's just a print. What movie did this come from? All right, who can see this? Don't answer, Sean. You'll probably know. What do we know? What do we know? Come on, trivia question, guys. Okay.
I don't even know that.
Come on. Someone's gonna know this. Okay, so in the comment feed, I'm pretty sure this is a very iconic scene in a movie that was from '87, I want to say. It's a print that I bought not too long ago. I'm gonna hang it up and stuff. Let's see. I give it about 10 seconds because we have a delay here on YouTube before stuff just rolls into the comment feed. You guys see it? Do you guys see it? I still see it. Oh,
Big trouble.
Someone knows it. Yep. Texas Gal Treasures. Look at that. Anyway, it's just a print I saw. I thought it was really cool. Okay, you guys want to see this star map? Yes, 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 I assume.
Yep.
Okay, so let me just line this thing up real good. It's heavy. So this is the double hemisphere star map that I found for $12.99. Planisphere Celestes came from an atlas back in the day. If you look really carefully, can you guys see this? Yes or no? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully the reflection of my light's not like...
Well, there is a reflection. Looks like the sun.
Okay, let me see if I can just turn this thing off for one. That's even worse, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You see the wire.
All right, so just ignore the reflection, but yeah, you can definitely tell it came out of a gigantic atlas. There's a crease down the page. If you take a looking glass to it, and like you'll know that it's definitely been just printed on like that. And then the date down here, if I can find it. Oh, here it is, 1828. It's right here, Paris, 1828. That's freaking crazy if you think about it. So this is in my hallway right now. It's really cool. Even my dad, he came by and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" He's like, "Where'd you get that?" And I told him. He was like, well, "Okay, that's something you don't sell." I was like, "Agreed." So yeah, it's really cool. So it's a double hemi, so 2 hemispheres. See, and that's what it is. It's really cool. I mean, it's like, so the ones you really want to look for though. Okay, so that one's worth some pretty decent coin, obviously. But the ones you really, really, I mean, you'll probably never find them, but the ones that you really want to look for, my dad's got a bunch at his house, are the ones with color. The more colorful the Hemi maps are, the more money they're going to be worth. So just so you guys know, that's a little thing for you.
Cool.
Big Trouble Little China was the answer to that other thing, by the way. That other print, the first one, the movie is Big Trouble in Little China.
And
which is awesome.
Texas Guy Treasure says, Etsy girlfriend admin, hint, hint.
Yeah, I know. I know.
That's not why we are part of your group.
We're thinking about it. I mean, we're definitely thinking about it. So we've got a couple things up our sleeve. We are, we obviously want to do good things for our room, and yeah, constantly thinking about how to promote it better, but more or less how to keep the future for the room there alive, you know. So I don't for right now it's not like a race to like how many people can we get in it. It's not like that. It's more of a sustainability thing. It's like how do we provide the best content? Because if you do the best job you can in this world, then people will follow. People will be inspired. But if you just go for the if you just go for the number, like oh we want 300 people by this day, then that's just a really pointless goal kind of to have. So we're going for the quality. We're just going for the right stuff. And we'll see if it takes us there.
Well, before I go to Louis DeSeller's question, I'm gonna go use one of mine. What do you like to do for fun? Since you're not always hustling.
Right. It's a good question. I like to do a lot of things for fun. Mainly, I used to like to work on bikes and build bikes and all that kind of stuff, but I kind of got bored of that. I used to really like remote control cars and mess with that a whole bunch, but I got bored with that. I used to love flying aircraft, not real, but remote control aircraft, but it's kind of an ordeal to find the right kind of space to fly those things at where you don't kill someone. So now what I like to do is I like to just chill out and listen to myself. I like to go to places like the beach, hiking trails, water spots here in town. I like good food, but usually good food comes with a price, which is like, it's not good for your body. And so at this point, my favorite thing to do, besides mountain biking and surfing, will be creating content and editing videos and showing people like, inspiring people to A, get a YouTube channel going for whatever you want to, and B, incorporating hustling into your life, whether you're full-time or you're part-time, and just incorporating it in there and showing you like you don't have to be some, guy with spectacles and stuff with a beard, and that's not a reseller. A reseller these days is, cool, fun, do things, experience things, and get some really cool objects in front of you and flip it for some really good money. So you're like the middleman of the whole thing, but you're getting to learn a lot about items and where they came from and historical things. So I think that's my passion now. My passion is there in helping people, creating content, and yeah, it's tough to create content. To create good content takes a lot of time. It does. The editing that you see on the videos, I mean, it's simple for someone on the other side to get inspired and just hit a like button, right? But for me to get that just there, it's like sometimes 2 or 3 hours out of my time just to get that thing edited right, just to where it clicks correctly with the end user. So it's tough. It's not super easy. Plus, we have to film it the right way, and that's not easy either. So, but it's fun. I would say that's fun because it's so challenging at this point to me, to where I look at that as like the fun thing. So, if that answers the question.
Yep. Louis asks, are the books on the shelf for personal learning or resale, and are they business books?
So Louis the Sailor is talking about these books behind me. There are a lot of like finance books up there, like a ton of finance books. I would say easily 50 or 60% of the books, no, about 50% of the books up there are like finance-related books. The other ones are just random stuff about like cosmos and UFOs and things that really interest me. And then there's stuff about healthy, just being healthy. And then there's just randomness throughout. There's like golf, swimming, wine books, antique books, still a lot of like luxury toy books, science fiction books. The second most prominent type of book on that shelf will be something dealing with physical health and fitness, whether it's diet or if it's actual workout book. It's up there. So yeah, that's what it's full. I need to go through that thing and ship some things off to FBA, because if I could just have like everything cleaner in my life, I swear that's like the best thing about. That's the worst thing about hustling. First of all, is you find too much cool stuff, and then sometimes it piles up on your floor, and you have to do things about it. So I like to think I am pretty organized, but I think everyone's got their battles. When you're an entrepreneur and you're a reseller, you got some serious battles going on for sure.
Ben asked, what is the map worth? And if I remember correctly, you said something about $450. That map that you just showed.
I'm sorry, say it again.
The map. Ben was asking what the map was worth.
Oh yeah, back then 6 years ago, it was worth about $450 or so. So now I don't even know what it's worth. I mean, who knows? I'm gonna say the same or more, obviously, but it gets harder and harder to find it. So it could be a lot more. I'm not gonna sell it though, because it's just really, really neat, and I like it a lot. So It's one of those like testament kind of things. Like I picked this thing. Like that's cool. And so I haven't picked. I mean, I've kept some things throughout the years. I just it has to be really unique for me to keep it. I mean, talking super unique. My other thing, my other pride and joy of something that I have picked, it came from a Goodwill. It was $10. I spent quite a bit of time polishing this thing up and getting it to the status it is now. But it was an old 1986 or 87 GT Timberline mountain bike that I redid, and it's like one of my favorite things ever. Every time that thing goes around town or pulls up into a bike store or goes to a bike swap meet, people are just like, dude, that is the coolest looking bike I've seen. So it just proves that my vision was really good in the beginning when I bought the bike from Goodwill, and it was totally covered with rust. It was totally messed up looking. Everything was all messed up, and I was like, I got a vision for this thing, and it's going to look beautiful. Um, and so I spent the time getting it where I wanted, and that's one of those things, kind of like the double hemisphere map, that I don't ever want to sell. It'll go to every house that I own. It'll go to everywhere that I go. It's just a really cool bike. I like it. So it's gonna be tough to part with that one if I ever have to, but I don't think I will. Someone's gonna have to go to my estate sale when I pass away, and they'll find it. They're gonna be like, "Holy crap, this is the coolest bike ever." And it'll be rusty and everything too.
Mr. Sadie, what did Gray ask? Chris, how much stuff do you find that you never show or talk about? 50%, etc. Thanks, Bubba.
Mr. Sadie 123. Okay, so for the things that recently I show a fair amount of the ride-alongs, right? But I don't cover every single Saturday. I don't cover every single Friday. I didn't film last Friday, and I found a bunch of cool stuff. I would say I show about 50. That's being about conservative. Yeah, about 50% of what you see on the videos is what I have hustled. Maybe less, actually. Now that I think about it, it could be less, because there are a lot of times I don't want to pick up the camera and take it in the car with me. There's just a lot. There are a lot of times where I'm just downtown, and we go to Barton Springs, and my girlfriend and I, we get something to eat, and then we're always going into thrift stores left and right, always. Just because if you're close to it, and if you watch my videos, I'm a huge proponent on, if you're close to a thrift store, then it doesn't matter what the hell you're doing, just go into it real quick. Spend the 10 minutes, walk in real quick, look around, and then walk right out, right? But those 10 minutes, you can make a ton of money in those 10 minutes. So yeah, I would say 40. I'm not gonna say 50 because I know it's a little bit lower than that. I would say 40% makes it to my videos, and then the rest is just behind the scenes. I show a decent amount on Periscope, I think, and the rest no one ever gets to see. So I can't show it all. I mean, God, I would have so many things to edit that it would be impossible, man. But Periscope now is becoming one of those avenues where it's making it real now, to where, like, for example, these Pioneer Elite, THX certified DVD player plus receiver that I have sitting over here, when I pan the computer over here, that is going to be worth some really good coin. I'm going to test it out and everything, and probably when I'm testing it out, I'll be on Periscope. But, when I actually sell it and everything, a lot of what I don't show on my videos and stuff, or a lot of the things that sell for really good money, I put an update in the green room just to show them and to teach them a little bit more about it. And I don't just put like, hey, bought for this and sold for that. Great. I actually show, like, why it sold for that and what was the work I did to the item. So just to teach people. But yeah, it's one of those kind of things.
We have a question here from Christopher Segarra. What is your worst item you've got?
You got to define that real quick. You mean the worst as in I lost money, or the worst as in, like, why did I buy that? Like, I don't get why I bought that in the first place. So let's just assume it's the first one. Let's assume it's the first one, right? What's the worst item I've ever got? Okay, this comes to my mind, and so it's probably the last thing I ever hustled of that kind of genre of thing. But there was this wine cabinet that I bought from a Salvation Army. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it was so awesome. I'm talking solid wood, thick doors, and it had the wrought iron crap going through the doors. It looked super cool. The typical thing you would find in one of these Texas homes, like in the hill country, like rich people would buy it, right? And oh man, I popped on this thing for like 160, I want to say, and it was huge, and I couldn't even bring it out of the store, so they had to put a sold tag, and I had to go back home, ask my neighbor for a truck, go back with my neighbor, and then wheel this thing into the truck. It was super heavy. I'm like talking 3 people had to walk it out of the Salvation Army, and then when I brought the truck up to my house, we basically put the back of the truck like right up to my garage to where it would be, within feet of where its final resting place would be, because I figured when I show this thing to whoever it is was going to come on Craigslist to look at it, I was just going to open my garage, show it to them, like, do you want it or not? Yes or no? And they'd be like, I don't know, and I'd just close the garage, right? It was one of those kind of things. I didn't want to have to wheel it out from anywhere. It was so heavy, and I started at like $400, and it blew my mind that when I finally sold it, I'd finally sold it for like 150. So
Oh,
I lost $10, but it started at 400, right? And I went down every week or so, $20, because I was like, okay, surely this thing is gonna be worth 380, right? And I'm like, it's so cool. Like, it was so thick. Like, all the wood was perfect. When you shut it, it sounded like an old Mercedes, like shutting down, like the door shutting. It was just like awesome. It sounded like Fort Knox almost. It was so thick. It was like a wine cabinet. It was super cool. But it blew my mind that nobody thought it was worth what I thought it was worth. So, yeah, can you imagine? Like, every week I reduced it $20. I finally got down to like 150. I was like, all right, I'm so tired of looking at this thing in my garage that I basically was like, I'll take a $10 hit, which I didn't care about. Obviously, it was the concept of like, dude, I'm never hustling this kind of crap again
Yeah.
because it's such a disaster. I guess everyone in this town has one of those in their house and they just don't need it. I have no idea. So yeah, that was extremely frustrating. And people looked at it too. Like, three people would come by and they looked at it and they're like, I think that there was a person at like 280 that came by and like offered me 240 at one point, and then I was
Oh
like,
shoot.
no, that's not worth. I think it's worth more than. Can you believe it? I didn't take the 240. I mean, you can't live life in
didn't you come back
retrospect
when
like
you
that.
lowered it to 240?
Yeah, you can't live life in retrospect, right? That's how you learn. Because if we lived life in retrospect and it actually worked and everything, then it just doesn't work like that. You can't go like, okay, I should have put more into Facebook. Why did I only trade $10,000 worth, right? Now it's worth $100. Life doesn't work like that. You can't live like that. You can't go, I should have done this, I would have done this, or I could have done that. It doesn't matter. So I made, the decisions at that time that I thought were good, and I did pass up making about $80. And yeah, I feel stupid now, but it's like not then, because to me I was like, it's certainly worth two whatever. And anyway, so
All right, I'm gonna kind of combine two questions for you. One of mine with Louis. Louis asks, "How does Bonafied handle frustration?"
how do
But
I handle
well,
frustration?
my question part of it that I was gonna tie into it is, what was the toughest obstacle you had to overcome getting into reselling? Like, because I know that overcoming it had to have some frustration.
um Hardest frustration, I'm trying to think. I mean, sometimes there's nothing more frustrating when I first started out than, and I kind of discussed this in my book, in one of the chapters, but is being too good at something, right? And then piling a like a whole bunch of it up. So like when I first started out, it was like a lot of bikes, and I was like going to pawn stores like left and right. So back then I had a company minivan, right? I know. Bonafide was driving a minivan for like a large portion of his life, and I love that thing because as soon as the weekends would come by, I would take all my company crap out of the minivan, and then I would flatten all the stuff in the back to where it basically looked like a Sprinter mobile, and then I would go to like all these pawn stores in town like all weekend long. I'm pretty sure my ex-girlfriend at that point, or my girlfriend at that point, was like, dude, this guy's crazy. But I just loved hustling bikes so much, so I would be going to pawn shops, buying two at a time, three at a time, and throwing them like Pringles, like right on top of each other in the van, like lined up. And it's great, but then you sell through the really, really amazing ones, and then you have to get to those like medium grade ones, and you're like, I don't want to mess with it, and it's like a Texas hot summer, and so before you know it, like the side of my house was like piling up with bikes, dude. I'm talking piling up, and that got frustrating, extremely frustrating, because I was like, yeah, sweet, I made all the money on the really amazing ones, and I got all my money back and then some, but then I still had all these middle grade ones that I didn't want to deal with, and they just started piling up, and so eventually, like once a year, then my rule was like, okay, like every 6 months or once a year, I'm just gonna make a post like, you have to buy all 13 of these bikes or all 20 of these bikes, and for this amount, that's it. And I would put a post on Craigslist, and some guy would come, and it's always the guy would come with a totally small car too, which blew my mind. And I'm like, what? Why would you show up with like 13 bikes with like a Subaru? But somehow they would make it work. It blew my mind. Like, They put like 3 on top of the car. They'd put like 4 or 5 like in the car, like a stack of paper, and then they had like a back rack at the back with like 4 more, and then they would throw all these random rims all over the place, and then that's how I'd do it. I would sell the very last batch for like $300, but that was very frustrating. That was one of those like, okay, I don't ever want to do that again. Of course, I would do it again and again, and then at that point, I was like, all right, I'm only messing with these decent bikes where I know I can make the money within like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, not have to wait months, right? So that was frustrating. Yeah.
We have a question from Joseph Hare. Being in Texas, do you find lots of Native American and Mexican sterling jewelry?
I don't mess too much with jewelry and the Native American stuff, although I do see it in estate sales all the time. I don't mess with it too much. I mean, I'm not, to me, at my core level, it doesn't really interest me at this point. I might get interested one day, but at this point, I get really interested on different things. And that's nothing to say. It's not to say that that's bad stuff to hustling. To hustle, I don't hustle much silver. I don't mess with old coins. I don't mess with old stamps or things like that. I don't mess with too much old Coca-Cola crap either. It just seems to be in every estate sale that I go to. So I just like hustling what excites me, and that's what hustling is. Get inspired by some people on YouTube and then see if it works for you. If it doesn't, then do something else. There are plenty of people that have tried Amazon FBA, and they're just like, it's not like the hunt. I don't feel like I'm hunting for anything. I don't feel like super good when I do it, so I'll just go back to eBay stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're making your money and you feel good, that's all that matters. If you take a little bit less money than you would have made on some other channel, but you're having more fun and inside you feel like you're learning and you're growing inside, then do that instead. So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
my answer to that one.
Funny thing you brought up FBA. Mr. Sadie wanted to know FBA or eBay, which one is better?
Honestly, to me, and I wish I could just find more stuff for it, and I'm looking actively harder and harder for stuff, but I like FBA better. I really do. So I like FBA, care less if it's more fees or whatever, I don't care. Like, if you're hustling the right kind of stuff and the right kind of ranks, FBA will be better. And especially fourth quarter, which is, basically 3 months away, FBA all the way. So eBay's got, I think dismissing eBay completely is just I don't think it's a good choice, but there's some people that are like, I hate eBay, I'm moving all my eBay stuff to Etsy, or I'm moving all my eBay stuff to Bonanza or whatever. Just do what makes you happy, but don't write off like the biggest thing ever just because you got screwed on some deal, or you didn't get your money back from this person, or you got bad feedback on something. If you're getting bad feedback, that's on you. You're doing something wrong. If you're getting screwed on some deal, maybe you're hustling the wrong items. You got to really, or maybe you don't know how to protect yourself against getting screwed. Like, taking down serial numbers and identifying marks and all that kind of stuff. I mean, eBay does side with you if you know exactly kind of what to do about it, but you kind of have to be smart about it. You have to make and this is what I always tell people to do, is if you're in a situation where you think you might be getting scammed, typically it's on an item that has a high scam rate in the first place. So put identifying marks on it and make sure you document all that kind of stuff. And then on top of that, if they say like, oh, this button doesn't work or whatever, then make them do the work to give you the proof that it doesn't work. Like, make them send you pictures or video or whatever you need. Make them do stuff. And typically a lot of those people that are scammers, they don't like to do a lot of that stuff. They don't want to lose their account over something really stupid. So that's just my advice. But I've won in the past 2 years, like 2 or 3 like potential super scams cases, and I've just won them because I put them through so much crap to do that they just gave up. So anyway.
Well, you said at the beginning you said you were going to give me an hour of your time. We're about 10 minutes up to that hour, so it's up to you if you want to stay a little longer or not.
Yeah, we'll go until like 9:10 or so. We'll go an extra 20. We'll do 20 minutes. Is that cool?
That's cool with me.
Okay.
Like I said, it's up to you. You're the guest.
Yeah, I'll do 20 minutes. I mean, I got some food coming, but it's gonna be all right. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be okay.
We got a couple more questions. 2 of them were about Emerson. One is, was Emerson named after Ralph Waldo Emerson?
Honestly, I don't know why my parents named my brother Emerson. I don't know. His actual name is his full name is 4 actual words. But I don't want to say it because then, who knows what people are going to say on comments and stuff. But it's like 1, and then Emerson, and then his middle name, and then his last name. It's kind of weird. It's like this huge long name thing. Mine's just Chris, and then my middle name, my last name. But his is like 4. It's kind of weird.
And
Yeah.
Turtle Trader wanted to know if E-Money resold full time also.
E-Money is not full time. He is part time, and he works at a hospital for his. It's considered full time, but it's like part time hour. It's hard to say. It's like almost like 30 to 40 hours a week. No less than 30, but no more than 40. So he's in that in-between stage. He's getting full benefits and everything like that. Plus he hustles on the weekends and during the week. He's doing pretty good. I mean, he's doing all right. I'm trying to train him more and more and more and more and more for FBA and small consumer electronics and video games and bigger electronics like that stuff on the table over there. If you have something really good, it's okay to pay. If it stays there for a month or 6 months and you're paying long-term storage fees, as long as your outcome is going to be gigantic, it's not something you really have to worry about. So.
And the last comment that I'm seeing, unless there's anything else, any questions that anybody want to ask, Thrifty Treasure said you got an awesome Native American picture this weekend, Chris. Laugh out loud.
What did she say?
That you got a awesome
yeah.
Native American picture this weekend.
Oh yeah. See, so if you guys want to follow me on Periscope, you can follow me at YouTube Hustler on Periscope. There are a bunch of people that were on that one haul video. So I went through my entire haul after a Saturday morning on Periscope. For me, it's just better than filming an actual video and going through all the editing and all that kind of stuff. Sean, you can attest to this, but like when you get on Periscope, it's like final, it's done. You hit the start button, you're on. You hit the end button, you're off, and they're looking at what you're doing live, right, Sean?
Yep.
And so you don't have to edit any of that stuff. You're just hitting two buttons. You're hitting a start and you're hitting a stop button, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Even a retro aficionado, he likes it better than the other stuff for that reason, because you don't have to, edit. You don't have to worry about all that stuff, downloading or uploading or.
Yeah. So definitely, guys. If you're interested in you've missed those haul videos that I used to do, then just see an actual haul being done. Right around 12 noon on a Saturday. If you're following me on Periscope, you will see me always put up Periscope. In the past 2 weeks, I've already done it. Always with 2 weeks, right? That's kind of funny, but I plan to do that every single Saturday. It's fun for me, and it's always because I always try to take the big haul picture when I'm done. I'm lining it all up on my little outdoor patio thing. And then I take a snapshot, and then I tear it all down and I put it to where it needs to go. But before I tear it all down, that's when I get on Periscope and I show the whole thing. So I'm not the only person that you should be watching on Periscope as well that does the whole thing. And I bring people along the ride along with me in my actual car doing the intro. Periodically throughout the day, I'm actually periscoping from my SUV as I'm going to garage sales. So definitely, I would say follow me. Follow Retro Aficionado as well at Young J Chong. Young, J-A-E, and then C-H-O-N-G. Then follow at Rakin Profit because he's been doing a bunch of Periscopes as well, and it's straight from the freaking either the thrift stores or he's in garage sales doing what he does. But if you want to see and learn fast, there's some really good free ways that you can do it. Periscope is becoming one of these amazing ways.
And if you're already following him, you would have seen that he was Periscoping before the show to tell everybody to come watch us.
Yep, I even Periscope right before the show. We had 10 minutes to kill, and I got on Periscope and I just showed people live what's going on in my life, which was like I was about to be on this show right here. So it's a really cool thing. Anyway.
And we have Louis DeSauer wanted to know, Bonafied the motivational speaker in the future?
Yeah, I think he's referring to, guys, on my side, by the way, on the screen, it says an error has occurred. Please try again later, learn more. Are we still streaming pretty good?
It says live on my end.
Okay, let's ask the fans real quick. Let's make sure. But yeah, because on my side, I'm not even seeing the screen anymore. I almost want to refresh this, but then I'm afraid I'll get kicked out.
Yeah, it's still streaming on the outside, the other side.
Is it really? Okay, let me just hit the refresh one time, guys. If it happens to kick me out, I'll get right back in, okay? Just give me 1 second. That way I can see what is going on. Hold on. Okay, we're good?
Yep, you're still here.
Okay. Sorry, I guess I refreshed the secondary feed. So let me just go back to the bottom of the thing. What was the topic we were on? Bonafied hustler, the motivational speaker in the future?
Yep.
Yeah, because I really do want to do that kind of stuff. It's a lot of people don't know my life story. They know a little bit about my life story, but they don't know a lot about it. And my life story has been really interesting to the point where I mean, even I can't believe some of the things that I've lived through, done, achieved, and more importantly, some of the things that I've learned about human beings, how they act, how to really get people on your side, how to be well respected, all the really important life lessons and everything. I think I figured that out really, really early. So I think that's what he's talking about, because after the show on Wednesday at my Green Room channel thing, I got on Periscope, and we were just doing an after show hangout just there on Periscope, and there were some people there. But then the talk got real. Like, someone asked me a question about, what do you think about college these days? Is college absolutely necessary to build yourself into a career, or not? And I gave my spin on it, and it happened to be something that people really were like, damn, that's a really good spin. I wish you would talk more about that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll probably be branching out into more things, and it's just a matter of time. I've thought about writing a book about it. Some things that really interest me. I find a lot of people really need to learn some very fundamental skills, and then they can get very old not understanding these skills, and they go like, why am I not getting the things in life that I want? Why am I not living the life that I should be living? Why am I not succeeding the way I should be at my age? It's important. There's some fundamental things that people haven't worked on, and they need to know, and need someone to guide them, and they need someone to tell them, this is what's going wrong. This is what you need to work on. So I think that's one of the things that they like, the people on Periscope. And so I will be bringing, if you watch me on Periscope, a lot of times there's some real talk Bonafied stuff that goes on there, and it's really fun stuff, and it has nothing to do with hustling. It's just fun. For me, it's easy to do. It's easy to deliver. But for the other side, they seem to really enjoy it. So absolutely, Louis the Seller, there will be more of that kind of stuff.
And Mr. Sadie wanted to know, fast nickel or slow dime?
That's a good question. I think so if it's an either or, I think I would take this fast nickel, because the fast nickel you can compound into a much bigger dime or a quarter. So I definitely think the fast nickel. If you know what you're doing with your money, if you're good at reinvesting it, then do the fast nickel thing. If you're just one of the people that just want to put a listing and never mess with it again, then yeah, slow dime is going to be the way to go. But doing a hybrid strategy when you're hustling is the best thing to do. Have a conglomeration of, just a bunch of things, and some of them are going to be very long tail, some are going to be middle grade, and then some are going to be these really quick sales. And then the really quick ones, you can make, tiny amounts of money all the way to big ones, but it doesn't matter, because if they're really quick sales, then you're just going for the money at that point. The much larger ones, you're valuing the money versus the time, versus the degradation of the product, or do you have to ship it off or not? What's going to happen when it's all shipped off? Is it going to get destroyed? There's a lot of stuff that has to be considered, but I would take the fast nickel all day, because I know what to do with the fast nickel when I do it. So anyway,
and we got two
awesome.
more questions, and then
go ahead.
one's from Ben Wing. Sorry, Ben, I have a hard time pronouncing your last name. But yes, for clothes resale, do you prefer Patagonia or KUHL?
So Ben Langenberg is talking about, he's just asking, Bonafied Hustler, do I prefer hustling Patagonia as a brand or Cool, KUHL? So Cool is a pants brand that is very, very wanted. It's very wanted out there. So I would rank it higher than Mountain Khakis. I would rank it higher than Mountain Hardwear. I would rank it higher than Prana. And I would rank it higher than Columbia. I would rank it higher than just about all those, Omnitech, Columbia Omnitech, and then there's one more, Ex Officio, I want to say. All those don't compare to really cool pants. KUHLs are really, really good pants. I own a pair or two, and those, if you find them in really good condition, they're very easy to spot. I've made some Periscopes on them too, so I show people what to do when you find a pair of cool pants. They're amazing. Throw them up for north of $50. If you're finding them from like 1 to 10, I throw them for 50 all day. And it's an easy 20, 25, $30 in your account. Like, so easy. The last pair that I sold was $56.99. I picked them up for $7 or something. So and they were in great condition. So Cool is a great brand. Do I prefer that over Patagonia? Well, it depends. If you're dealing with vintage Patagonia, then there's a huge market for that. Vintage Patagonia, where it's Aztec kind of crap, or marsupial type vintage Patagonia. There's a huge market for vintage Patagonia. Current day Patagonia, the fleece kind of stuff still has a good market. When you start getting to the down or the nano puff stuff, then yeah, of course, that's great. but you probably won't find as much Patagonia or cool if you don't live in a town that is embracing some sort of wilderness around it, or they don't, Does that make sense? If you live in, I would say, San Antonio, Texas, for example, there's like nowhere to go, embrace the great outdoors. So there you probably wouldn't find much cool or Patagonia stuff. You come to Austin, Texas, you're going to find a lot of cool and a fair amount of Patagonia. Patagonia is a very well-known thing, so typically a reseller will pick that up pretty quick. Cool, on the other hand, not very well known. I would equate it to Lululemon, for example, on like women's activewear. It's just a brand that you really haven't heard very many resellers are talking about. And Lululemon is insane profits as well. My girlfriend hustles that all the time, and that's crazy, crazy profits. So between the two, do I prefer Patagonia or cool? I prefer upper grade Patagonia and vintage Patagonia and marsupial Patagonia, and I prefer pretty much anything cool. So there you go. There's the answer for you right there.
And last question that I'm seeing before I start to our wrap up is Violet Picker asks, all those books what are you reading at the moment?
Right now, I haven't been reading much. I've been actually creating more content than normal. But the one book I want to, okay, so like my favorite book that I recently got done reading was Choose Yourself by James Altucher. I want to say Altucher, something like that. That's a really good book called Choose Yourself. If you're thinking about the entrepreneur lifestyle or anything like that, that is a fantastic book to read. It's a it's a bestseller kind of book. He was one of the original investors in Twitter too, so he's made tons of failures, this guy too, and he basically tells you, and the gist of the book comes down to, you really can't hinge your future on anybody but yourself, and doing what you love and what interests you. If you fail at that, it's because you failed internally. It's because you didn't do a good job. So that's the ultimate gist of the book, but you should read it. It's an amazing book. Another amazing book to read has nothing to do with like entrepreneurship or motivation or anything like that. It's just a really rad book that recently got picked up by, I think the book got sold, or Warner Brothers bought the right to this book to make a movie on it, and Steven Spielberg decided he would come out of the woodworks and actually direct this movie, or produce, or whatever. So it's called Ready Player One. It's actually sitting on my shelf back there. That is a science fiction book that I freaking enjoyed every second of it. And that guy actually lives in Austin, Texas, the author of that book. So those are my two most current reads. And yeah, I mean, one's hustling, one's kind of entrepreneurship related, and the other one's just complete science fiction. If you love cool science fiction, I'm talking like on the lines of like Blade Runner, Chronicle, trying to think what other kind of movie, maybe Super 8. This book is just perfect. It's so awesome. That's a lot of things. That's some things that people don't know about me. I just love science fiction stuff. I love the notion of like meeting an extraterrestrial one day. It absolutely fascinates the hell out of me. I know, it seems kind of weird. So now you can kind of see where this like space stuff comes in my videos, and spaceships and weird space sounds. It just comes from that.
I'd be down for that. Shoot.
I really want to know, like, if they're. I'm convinced that they do exist. So let's just put it that way. I really enjoy movies like X-Files or Contact. So yeah. Anyway, that's a little bit more about me that I probably haven't ever told anybody in any show. But if you know me here in Austin, Texas, people are like, they're like, he's a little on the nerdy side. He's cool, but he's nerdy. He likes nerdy things. So.
Well, I want to thank you, Chris, for being here. And when you do see your girlfriend to eat, tell her thanks for letting you stay home on a Sunday night, because I know you usually have a Sunday night for a date night. And
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next week, just so everybody will know, we're going to have Sonia of CSA Pickers on. She will be talking about tweeting your items and yard sales from her experiences of doing her own yard sales at home. So, if anybody wants to learn how to make one of the yard sales from personal experience, there you go.
Yeah, thank you for having me, by the way. Such an honor. And don't worry about being on a Sunday night. It's all good. I make time for the community where I can. And if you do like our show, and I'll be watching more of them, hit the like button. We know you're out there.
And thanks, Sean, for, you didn't get to really do much talking tonight, for doing the questions like usual.
It's all good. It's all good.
And I will say
I was
we
busy anyway.
almost hit our usual 50 viewers tonight. Our top was 47. So, and without that being said, everybody, I want to thank you again, and we will see you next week.